We're doing an auction, a live auction, ladies and gentlemen. And even if you're not bidding on anything, it's so worth it to watch the amazing pipes of Joe Bodnar. Give it up for Joe.
Hey, welcome to Bodnar's Bids and Banter. I'm Joe Bodnar.
Maureen. Erica.
Danny.
Janet.
All right. Hey.
First try.
Good. And behind the scenes, we have...
It's a Christian.
There you go. Very good. All right, guys. Good to see you all. What a great day, huh? It was a hot, cold day. It was cold, then it was hot, then it was humid. Had to put the fan on. It was nuts.
It was like a tornado.
Yeah, now it's rather warm.
What a great day. Today was a fantastic day for me, only because, you know, the last few weeks it's just been rough. I just feel like the sales have been rough, the business has been rough, shit's been breaking.
Beware the Ides of March.
Oh my God, yeah, no.
Rude.
Yeah, no. You know,
It's
I
spooky.
broke something. I guess you broke something too.
Didn't break anything.
Good boy. I haven't broken
Actually
shit.
did not break anything.
The one who's not here broke everything.
Tracy.
Tracy.
What did you do, Tracy?
She might have mishandled
Broken
a couple
few
things. Yeah.
pieces.
Well, what are you gonna do? But at any rate, very depressing. It was like the countdown. It was like the stock markets that's been dropping. It's been like, I see the Bodnars auction's been dropping. Okay, it's like when you're in Atlantic City and you're putting the coins in, and you keep losing. You're chasing the next 100. You're chasing the next 100, and before you know it, you're down 2,000, and you didn't even get your room comped, and you're like, what the fuck?
True story.
However, today was like the pirate's bounty that came in the door.
Yes, it did.
You know, this was a deal I was working on for at least a year.
Oh my! How many
Wow.
times did you call them, Janet?
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
And he was always in Vermont.
He
Yeah.
was always in
He was
Vermont.
always in Vermont.
Making
and said,
jam
when
with
I
the
get home-
lesbians.
Well, backstory was that he this gentleman brother passed away, and the two brothers were working on the collection, and there was a collection of coins, there was a collection of trains, there's even an automobile, so it's planes, trains, and automobiles, literally, I guess. But at any rate, we did get the train collection that we sold last year. I guess it was like, I don't know, but mid last year we sold the train collection. They were extremely happy. There was a Blue Comet. He had the
Those are nice.
greatest train that was ever made. It was a standard gauge Blue Comet. You know, and this is what made Lionel what it is. It's like the best of the best. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's great. I don't know if it's real or not.
And he gave it to me for Christmas.
Exactly. But it was absolutely beautiful in original condition, and I believe the train set brought 3,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought it was
It
like,
did
I don't
something
know,
like that.
3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah, it might have been 4,000.
I think 4,000.
It was probably close to 4,000 for the set, which is I've only in 32 years I've been doing it. That's the only second time I've sold that complete set. And the first time we had that set, Jay Leno bid on it at our auction.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was,
that's cool.
yeah,
It
that
was a really
real
nice
cool.
set.
So that was years ago that we had it. That was probably about, I'm going to say anyway, 12 years ago that we sold it the first time. So anyway, they when they brought me there to look at the trains, they laid out all these coins, you know, and I was like, oh man, and I really. I mean, they gave us a portion today, but when I first went, there was at least, I'm gonna say, I came home, I was like, it was over 100,000. I was
Yeah.
like, I was going, there's at least 100,000, maybe 200,000 in coins there, and the first portion of the coins came in today. They kept the gold, but you know what? I don't blame them. The way gold's been going up and up and up, they were like,
It makes sense.
yeah, no, they had like 50 gold coins, probably worth about 50 to 75,000 right now, currently, and they decided to keep that. The two brothers split that up between the two of them, so that kind of like was depressing, but that's okay.
It's part of the business.
Yeah.
It's part of the business, exactly. It's part of the business, but the rest of the silver came in, and I was happy with that. That one
So
suitcase,
much silver.
yeah, right.
Hey, the suitcase, you did look pretty bossy.
Yeah.
With the extremely heavy suitcase.
I carried the briefcase to the safe.
That was the best moment.
That was the best moment.
Handcuffed to his fucking wrist.
Yeah,
In my mind, yes. In my mind, yes. I was just like,
It was kind of Ocean's 11. That, exactly.
Yeah.
There was like 250 silver dollars in that suitcase.
we weren't allowed to look him in the eye during that time.
Could it be like Pulp Fiction, and you open it up, it goes, ah.
Except literally, you get get blinded by the sheer shining.
Look away! Look away!
Exactly.
More Ark of the Covenant.
So that went into what you know. What's nice about this coin collection that makes it better than even the one we just sold last year, that where we found tons and tons of coins in that
all
person's
those
house.
Morgan dollars.
Yeah. What's nice about this coin collection is that all of it's graded.
Yeah, it's all graded.
It's every
wow.
single piece
Well,
that he
not
has.
all of it.
Oh, 99% of
99%
it.
of it.
I was gonna say 90% of it is graded, and so it has grades. They're encapsulated. It's gonna make life a lot easier for research and everything else.
Well, and it takes the guessing game out for the buyers.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They know exactly what they're
They know
getting
what they're
because it's
bidding
been
on.
graded by professional, PCGS or whatever it is.
And if you look at it, the historical sale was a tough sale that we had 3 weeks ago, which started the cause of my depression. I should have been popping pills. I don't know, but at any rate, I knew I shouldn't have stopped.
Wait, those
sniffing
weren't
glue.
candies?
No.
Ah, crap.
I knew I should. I should have stopped taking those Percocets.
I was gonna say,
don't know.
pick a bad day to stop doing drugs.
And so, but where was I going with that? But the greatest part of the historical sale was the coins. Because in the historical sale we had graded coins.
Yep.
And it was a day of $20, $30. I shouldn't say. There was things that
there
were
things
50 to 100.
Listen, the way I set up that sale was there were things I took a chance on.
Right.
I think it's cool. Sometimes people don't agree with me.
And the books were rough in that sale. That was
But the ones that were meant to bring money.
well,
brought
that's
money.
true.
As a runner, yes.
Yes, the books were rough. Hey, usually Tom had them lotted a lot heavier than that. I broke them down further.
Thank you, Maureen.
You're welcome. But in hindsight, I don't know. Would they have brought more left in bigger lots? I don't think so.
It was just so niche.
Yeah, it is very niche.
It was, it was a mix of old radio, technology magazines and
Right.
wireless magazines.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
I
guess
know.
it's either antiquated, but it's so niche that I guess not really people are like,
It's
Yeah.
give me that periodical.
what I've learned is really from going. So if we look at pandemic, 'cause I think like the business is now pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. That's really how
the
it's been,
before time,
right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Pre-pandemic, that kind of stuff in the building, we used to smoke all historical things.
Books, especially if you had a good
postcards.
historical sale and you added those historical books into it, they would bring all the money in the world.
They really would, and like postcards.
I believe it, but do you think it's because it's something tangible that like people like need to be able to
No, you
flip
know what I
through,
think?
or
I think back then it was something that you couldn't find that information online. Like in doing a
That's
lot of
true, too.
research, especially like for like Bill Kazar's sale,
Gotcha.
you could only
Okay.
find that information in the book. You couldn't find it online anywhere.
Yeah, now
I
it's
had to
everywhere.
order. He had postal covers, so it wasn't just the envelope. It was the stamp and where it came from, and you couldn't find that stuff online. I had to order the book of U.S. postal covers
Oh wow.
to be able to correctly catalog it all.
Now
Right.
you go to the
Crazy.
website, U.S.
Now-
postal covers.
A lot more information is online.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And that sale was kind of a roller coaster. And then we got to the coins, and we had a small grouping of graded coins in that sale, and everything popped. I mean, each coin was bringing 250, 275, and then it was
Well,
like
then he had the gold coin.
we had the gold coins bringing
Nice
1,300 and 800
The
and
silver coins,
750.
pretty neat. I'm
But
not
those
gonna lie.
silver
like
coins
the pirate
smoked.
coin, like the Spanish, like
The pieces
Oh,
of
the
eight.
pieces of
yeah,
eight and
yeah.
things
yeah,
like
the
that.
pieces of eight. I was like, cool.
That was cool.
They are cool.
It was crazy because Joe's eyes turned to dollar signs. I was like, I only thought that happened in cartoons.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. So that portion of the sale did great, which was great because you know what? It prompted me to tell Janet, get them on the phone and tell them that, hey, listen, we just had a sale with graded stuff and it's smoke. Cause I told them, I said, listen, whatever you do, if you don't choose us, fine. You choose somebody else, it's fine. Not really, it's not fine, but it's fine.
But
but
we'll
whatever
pretend
you
it's fine.
do,
Fine enough.
Everything is fine.
exactly. Don't
Fine.
melt them.
Don't melt it.
Whatever you do, don't melt them. And if you're out there listening, don't think. And I don't know why everybody does this, but someone passes and they take their gold and silver and cars. And that's the first thing they do. They go and sell it to a jeweler or go for cash for gold, and then they sell the car off or what have you. But the reality is, if you put those things in auction, you're going to do 1,000 times better than what these cash for gold places do. Because these cash for gold places, really, they're looking at it in bulk, and they're going, okay, a 1 ounce silver dollar is one, or a silver dollar is 1 ounce of silver. It's worth $32. It's a commodity, and that's what it is, and they're going to melt it.
Let's not lie. They're not all of them are melting. A lot of them are going, oh, I'm going to buy it for you for the silver melt. They know exactly what they're looking at.
Well, yeah, that's
true. And they know
too.
exactly how much they're going to take advantage of.
But they're
someone
paying just on the spot.
They're paying under spot.
They're paying. Well, they have. Yeah, you have to pay under
Quick
spot
money.
in that kind of business.
And I think that runs true for the jewelry as well. Heirloom jewelry, estate jewelry. A lot of these pieces have a very heavy weight to them because gold is cheaper. A whole bunch of different aspects. Long story short, but it's the same thing. Don't automatically bring it to melt. These pieces are getting harder and harder to find.
Yeah.
and
Everything's
there
being
is a market
melted.
for them, and there is a standard set market.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's established, so
Right,
there's
it's
a
not
pretty
like
much standard guarantee of what you're going to be seeing in return.
Exactly. Not like the art market. Art is subjective.
It sure is.
Speaking of another thing Speaking of another thing that got you down.
Well, yeah. Well, that sale was okay, but
The beginning of payoff for that sale.
yeah.
Was great.
So the last week's auction with the art was definitely a roller coaster ride too. I think
It was more of like a going up and crashing down.
it was like
So
King of
Cobb.
It was. Yeah, it was like the King to Cobb sales.
like the true, because didn't they knock that down?
Yeah, they did.
King to
They
Cobb.
sure
It
did.
imploded.
True.
They imploded it.
A true King to Cobb version
Yeah,
of
it
sales.
was-
Did you see? Is this an April Fool's joke? They're making King to Cobb Part 2. Was that an April Fool's joke? that
I think
saw
it may
on
be an April
TikTok?
Fool's joke.
I think that it's probably an April
I
Fool's.
don't know. I think it was.
But
an
I
April
don't
Fool's
put it
joke.
past them to do something a little bit more high tech because
And higher.
Cedar Point owns them now. They have 21 roller coasters in their home park,
Right.
and they're really fun and really special. So I think that Six Flags will have a new something wild come in.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it was a real roller coaster ride. But I thought the art sale I thought was really, really decent. And the beginning of the sale was decent.
Yeah.
Now, was it just decent for the person who consigned it to us? He passed, unfortunately. But if you look at what he paid, because so the first part of the sale. And I know we probably talked about this in the past podcast, but we had a gentleman who bought off of Auction Network, and he bought tons of paintings late night. He was sitting there and thinking of an investment, I guess. But he paid $3,000, $4,000, $6,000. But we did good with it. A lot of it brought $300, $500, $1,000. It wasn't terrible. I thought it was good.
It does what it does at auction.
Exactly. So I think overall that portion of the sale did great, and then we kind of crashed and burned with some of the art that came from Brooklyn. But I understood that because a lot of her stuff was more hotel art, they call it, from the 1960s, where you went to the hotel and it was mass produced stuff, and they would charge you $35 for the oil on canvas, but then they would rip you for like $500 for
the frame.
For the frame. That's how that worked.
Yeah.
That was that kind of walk around sale.
Yeah, no, it had a look, but it wasn't
Exactly.
masterpieces. It wasn't.
And some of her pieces did okay. I mean, some of them were shocking. They were, there was one that brought like $400 out of her situation.
There were some nice ones though.
Yeah.
They were
Right.
charming. Some of them were charming.
Yes. And then some of them were what have you. And even my favorite painting in the sale was there was the Victorian 4 children that was from Great Britain. I know you loved it too.
That one
Yeah,
was
it
sweet.
was really nice.
Right? Wasn't that beautiful?
That was.
It was
very
such a
nice.
beautiful. I underbid it. I didn't get it, and I'm still mad. I'm kicking myself. I didn't go one more bid. I should have listened to my own self. Go, come on, go one more time. You know you're gonna want it. You know you're gonna want it. I'm telling in my head, I should bid one more time. I should bid one more time. And I didn't bid again. But that was a beautiful. I know
was
he
nice.
paid $8,000 for that. I
Wow.
believe. Yeah. Can you believe
Yeah.
that?
Quality piece.
It was a quality
Quality
piece,
piece.
and it sold for $975 plus the buyer's premium. So the guy who bought it paid about $1,300 for it. That's fair, but it's still cheap when you look at it.
I mean, granted, Yeah, on the cheaper side, but for that size, I mean, that was a nice size.
It
too.
was beautiful.
was.
I had one almost double that size that we sold down in Cape May.
Yes.
And I think I got $3,600 for it. It was
Yeah.
a portrait of Troy, and that was more Americana versus Britain.
Yeah, it was
that was
really
the one thing
American.
that hurt that painting is that it wasn't American. If that was an American portrait with an American flag, that thing would have brought $5,000, $6,000, you know. But being the British, no offense to the Britons out there, but you know we did win the war. But at any rate, you know.
Well, no, it's true. Anything of
And
that.
there goes our UK listeners.
Big fan of the
Sorry.
biscuits, not of the colonialism.
But anything from that time period, furniture, art, anything American, Americana brings 4 times as much.
Oh yeah, I mean you'll get
as the stuff that was imported from England at that time.
absolutely.
Now, do you think that's like more of a taste shift generationally?
I just think it's more of a rarity issue.
Yeah, I think if you really look at America, has only been here for 300 years.
Yeah, we babies.
Yeah, and you look at Great Britain or the English, they've been around for how many centuries, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, I just think it's more of a
so
scarcity thing.
a
There were
long,
less
long time.
There were less American furniture makers. There were less.
Valid.
I think
Valid.
I think too that so I think a 19th century English cabinet. Well, who cares? They've been around forever. But a 19th century American cabinet, people were into it because it was American made.
And I think it sparks something in them too. Like it's a piece of their history. You know, it's like,
right. But American made stuff will definitely command a lot more money. There's no
Yeah.
question about that. Versus an English piece. An English piece is just like whatever.
yeah.
But I thought that did good. Then we had a painting. It was this beautiful on birchwood of a mid-century modern bicyclist.
My
Oh
painting.
yeah.
Yes, the one that you
My
bid on it.
painting.
Yeah,
Uh,
the lady
I-
with the club feet.
I guess this is going to be the what we missed, what we didn't get.
What
so,
we didn't get.
so you bid on that, right?
I bid on that.
and that was like
And my limit, I was like 500.
I know I talked you in.
And then as I'm bidding, I said, I'm done. And he goes, it'll look really good in your house.
I did say that.
And I'm like, damn him, bid again.
And you had already picked a spot for it.
And I
which
found a
was-
spot for it.
right.
And I think I was out at like 750, I think.
Whoa.
775.
775.
It brought 800, I believe.
It brought 800, but I did feel much better afterwards because the woman who bought it was the niece of the artist. So there's
Yeah.
no way I was getting it.
Oh.
So it actually
And
came
so
right
it-
back to the family.
So
Rare
it's
full
going
circle moment.
back to the family. And when I talked to her, I told her that I bid against her, and she's like, I'm so sorry. I said, no, don't be sorry. What we want to see is it to go back to the family. It was such a nice story.
Yeah.
And she said her uncle gave her one of his original paintings from the same time period, and she's been looking for more, can't find them. And when she saw it, she just went, this is mine. I'm taking it
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, well, which was cool because I guess this artist didn't really do a whole lot in birchwood. He did other types
The
of art.
texture, the colors.
Yeah,
were
no, it
just
popped. It
amazing.
almost looked like
It
an
was really cool.
inlay is what it did.
Yeah.
It almost looked like it was like a wood burning
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
style,
absolutely.
but it was just I've never
And
seen
it was
anything
the
like
girl on the bicycle. It had that 70s look about it.
Right,
Melody.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had a letter from the artist saying that, yes, this was like one of my first pieces that I started with birchwood.
Right.
And I think that helped as well. I think we estimated that at like 300 to 500
I
or
think
something like
so.
that, and ended up bringing 800 plus the buyer's premium, plus it's being shipped out to her. But I think the greatest part of that story is staying in the family.
Yeah.
It is saying, I'm sorry, I'm watching my cat eat the fern.
Yeah, no, this is why she keeps getting sick.
She keeps getting sick.
You know, you
Sorry.
can't have live things in the house, I guess.
I'm a little distracted. Look at her now. She's trying to squeeze by. Like,
But that was a great painting. I thought that was really
beautiful.
good. And I thought the sale itself. I mean, listen, I think one of the so that's another thing on the downfalls of post and pre-pandemic. I think certain paintings that are worth all the money and people don't care, they'll pay anything for it. But the other stuff is hit or miss because when you think about shipping it, it's a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, to ship any of those paintings out, $200, $300, $400 to ship all day long.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
easily.
people don't get the amount of phone calls we get that they don't understand. Well, wait, I only paid $50 for that painting. Why is it $200 to ship?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They-
because what you pay is not
Not
indicative
has-
of what it's
right.
going to cost to ship. Like, you can buy a piano for $5, then you got to get it home.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I don't miss
think
moving
people
pianos.
have been
No.
spoiled with like the whole Amazon thing. They just think, oh, I'll bid on it. It won't be a lot. Because
Right.
they're used to getting Amazon sent to their house.
Exactly.
And they just think everything's going to be next to nothing.
Right. No.
Oh, they get so mad at me. I mean, I've had people yell at me over $15. I'm like, you realize I'm paying human beings to pack this up, and I have to pay for the supplies, pay for the the boxes, the bubble, the tape, the person, all of this stuff, and they don't want to hear it.
They
They're
don't
like,
want to hear
they
it.
don't
And
care.
they don't see the back end. I mean, if you think about it, at the end of a sale, just the logistics of going through the building, getting
Yeah.
the invoices, putting it all together,
Pulling it
then
all
moving it over
together.
to here, and then, you have Alan packing it,
I can't make a
I mean,
good
but then
cricket
I'll-
noise.
That-
Come
that-
on.
I was gonna say, this is like, how do we keep
Cricket
Erica
noise.
quiet? Historical, art, and let's talk about Alan shipping. If you don't have anything nice to say, you just shut
Come sit by
up.
me. You gotta-
No, but I'm just saying that people don't see the whole process. They think it's, just throw it in a
Right.
box and move. But it's not, because by the time we take it here, there, packed up, then we got to put it back in the computer, then print the label, then call UPS, or we drop it off to UPS or what have you.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of
It's a lot of work.
Not like the
steps
good
to
old
that.
days when we would say sold. And as a runner, you would just drop the thing in front of the customer
you go.
and walk away.
Yeah,
Yep.
see you later. I don't
Yep.
miss that. I mean, I do miss that. But that was here. We're selling here to there. Take it all. Don't leave nothing.
Yeah,
I used to
don't
hate when
leave it.
customers would cherry pick this shit. I get so mad.
No,
You
I
get stuck
really
with
hated the
leftovers.
dumpster divers.
The dumpster
They
divers.
were the worst. Like, they would
divers.
wait to the very end and scavenge. So, like, Darren and I and Tommy, the three of us, used to find it hilarious to go and break
Yeah, we would
everything,
break everything.
purposely.
They would, as they were putting
Anything
it
that
in the
was
dumpster,
left,
they would
we would take
slam
it
it.
and be like, whoosh, whoosh.
Yep.
All you hear is, like, everything cracking that
Breaking.
people left behind, because
Right.
they would literally come for like 2 hours and just dig. Like, it was $5 in a box lot, you cheapo. Like, pay the $5.
I used to hate that. I used to get really mad because they would wait for us to go down to like $5.
Yep.
And I would say, if I say pass, none of you are getting it. I'm
Yep.
throwing it all out, just so you're aware.
Right.
Remember, I used to hate that, man.
Yeah,
were
and then
bad.
you would, some of it would pass, and then they would come over and try to take it. That's why we broke everything. We were terrible.
Yeah, no, I couldn't stand them, man. That used to aggravate me to no end. Especially sometimes I go down to $250 just to get rid of something, and they wouldn't bid $250, but they sure as hell would be over at the dumpster. Then they would be fighting over it at
Fighting.
the dumpster,
Yep.
and then all the commotion
Yep.
would go over to
Yep.
the dumpster, and they're all fighting over there, and I'm selling stuff here, and that's what would get me really mad. I'd be like, "Listen, the auction's here, and ain't the free shit over there." This would really piss me off.
Well,
man.
they would hit up the dumpster, throw it all away, and then as quick as they could, just get it out of the room.
My coffee.
Famous cat. You're gonna be famous.
You
here.
are a famous pain in the
Such a
ass.
butt
pretty
shot.
A
kitty.
famous pain
Joe,
in the
I'm
ass.
too much of a jokester because if I would have watched that happen, I would have walked up with a speaker in hand and started auctioneering the garbage.
Right. Yeah, no, that,
That would have been.
Started
I
making-
used to want to
You
like.
want
take
$5 for
a-
this? That's
garbage.
like just do the whole spiel and then just confuse them.
I used to want to take a water gun and like hide behind the dumpster, and then when they come over, like bad, and just shoot them with the water gun.
Handful of pennies, shake it at them. No, bad.
down.
yeah, no, it's just a pain.
by
Do that
cat ass.
outside.
Hell, look at Alan's picking the dumpster right now. He really is.
He does.
I swear to God,
I only picked once,
it's okay. You guys
did,
can pick
that's
the
right.
dumpster. That's fine.
but I got some real good shit.
there you go.
But that's because that was people who hadn't paid their shipping in like a year, and one of the shippers brought back like a truck full of stuff.
Oh, that was the time when
Yeah.
you took something. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He did bring a truckload of stuff. I was like,
did. It
I
was a
got
lot.
so mad that day.
And I was like,
throw
where
it all
have
out.
you
And that's
been?
unlike me, but I was like, throw it all out.
like, I don't
I don't want to
see
see this shit.
I don't want to look at it.
it. It was good stuff too.
There was some cool stuff.
Yeah, no, there
was
was some
cool
cool
stuff
stuff.
in
No, Alan today usually
using
he
some of those
dumpster
glasses in
dives
my
every
kitchen.
day.
Nice.
But today he was like, before you put it in a dumpster, let me look. I want to go look. So he came and looked. I don't know if he took anything or not, but
Okay,
he was
so
definitely looking.
behind the gavel section, the greatest thing to ever be pulled out of the dumpster
What is it?
was a bedpan.
A bedpan. Well, the bedpan. Oh, you mean out of our dumpster? Well, it caused a lot of ruckus.
I was gonna
Sure
say, is that the one that like fan threw and hit somebody?
No, the customer.
threw it at fan.
So
What the fuck?
yes.
Yes.
So back in the day, we used to have the box lot sale.
Yes.
And then as it was selling, they were breaking the tables down so we could set up for the main sale, which was starting at 5 p.m. And that was a sit down sale. The runners would walk the one piece at a time. And people would they'd buy stuff and just start stacking it on tables and leaving it there.
What a crazy
And
operation.
we would make announcements. You have 5 minutes, whoever this is over here, you have 5 minutes to get your stuff out of there or it's going in the dumpster. Like our auctions used to be bring a friend, bring 2 friends. You're going to need them, And so a particular customer, very nice guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Left his stuff there, and the guys, they had full permission from Joe and I. If it's there, once it's done and you've made this announcement, it goes in the garbage.
Yep, we throw it out.
Because people would cherry pick and then leave stuff behind. So we're not psychic, And we have a business we have to keep moving.
Yeah.
So they threw it in the dumpster. Well, apparently the person who bought it got really, really upset about it, and he and Fan were exchanging words.
Yep.
And the customer's mad. And I don't know what was said because I couldn't hear it, but I had cameras. And Fan walked away. And while his back was turned, the customer went into the dumpster, pulled out a full-on old enamel bedpan,
Those are
Oh,
heavy.
shit.
grabbed it and threw it at Fan and hit him in the back of the head.
Yep.
Fan turned around, grabbed him, pinned him up against the wall, and gave him a shiner like I've never seen.
Yeah, and I decked him.
And the customer came to me and said, "Your employee punched me."
Yeah,
Da 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 da.
Fuck around, find out.
He fucked
Thank God
around
we had
and he
cameras.
found out. And Fan said he threw it at me. And the customer's like, "I did not." And I pulled up the cameras, and I grabbed him and I said,
Yeah,
"Here
we
you
showed
are.
the customer. We said you started it.
Here you are hitting my employee." And he was like, "Oh my God." I guess he got so angry he didn't even remember doing it.
And Fan was a professional
White man
boxer.
being
to
held
put
accountable.
that- put it in perspective.
Love that.
Fan
Fan
was a
will take
professional
you
boxer.
out.
Love it.
yeah, Fan
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a boxer, so
Yeah.
he
A boxer with
stunned
anger
him.
management
Yeah, and he
issues.
did have anger management
Well, the
issues.
customer
Yes,
caught
he
that
did.
smoke. He caught the smoke.
he fucked
caught the
around
smoke.
and found out.
That's right.
Sweetheart, but oh my God, you pissed him
Yeah.
off. Goodbye.
Oh yeah, man. No, you didn't want to piss him off.
My kind of guy.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you
yeah,
would've liked him.
So that
Yeah. Oh,
is
yeah.
the best thing that's ever been pulled out of the dumpster.
I guess that's the best thing. I thought you were going with like, what's the best thing you pulled out of the dumpster?
Well,
and
I
made
know what the
money
best
with?
thing you pulled out of the dumpster was.
What
Those
would-
NASA photos.
Oh, those NASA photos, yes, which I didn't
NASA
talk about.
photos.
It.
Yes, honest to God,
That was
NASA photos.
Well, maybe we
Fabulous.
didn't
They were-
talk about
Oh.
it.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't talk about
No,
it.
we had we're doing this fantastic estate, and they had tons and tons of jewelry. This woman lived a life, man. She had
Sterling?
hundreds
Southwestern.
and hundreds and
Ooh.
thousands
Pieces
of
old
pieces of
Yes.
jewelry. Right, it was
The
beautiful jewelry.
turquoise,
Yep.
the silver.
Yeah.
So we're there picking up,
Yeah.
and then she had a Yardro
Great.
collection and other collectibles, this and that. So while we're there, I'm there for day 2 or day 3, and I pull up, and at the garbage they have 2 boxes or 3 boxes of photographs, but it was like photographs of the space shuttle and of satellites. Actually, it was all satellites. It was weather satellites and space shit. Because the guy worked for DuPont or somebody like that. It was like
Did
whoever
he work for RCA?
RCA.
Because there
That's
were all
right.
those tie tacks.
Yeah, I have
with
one.
RCA.
I have
Yes.
a tie tack from that.
Did
sale,
he
yeah.
also have is that the same guy that some of those pens came from? Because I was cataloging a whole bunch of like the gold filled, cross brand pens, but they were all RCA as
Yeah.
well.
But
yeah,
he-
no, this goes back
This is years ago.
20 years ago.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
no, this is a long time ago. So I when I pull up, I go, "Oh." So I go inside. I go, "Are you throwing them out?" She goes, "Yeah, we're throwing them out. Well, nobody wants that." I said, "Okay, listen, I'll take it and we'll put it through the auction. I'll sell it for you." So it was like 2 boxes full. At any rate, we grouped them up in lots of 10 and 15.
Laid them out on those
Laid them out
tables.
on like 2 rows, 3 rows, a big row down at the fucking ship brought like 15,000 or 16,000 for these photographs,
Yeah.
right? Hey, fuck, it's
Yes.
right. It might have been 20 grand. It was
They
up
were
there.
just smoking.
Oh
in
my
the
God,
building.
$500, $800, $1,000, $650, $550.
Right.
It was freaking crazy money, man.
Right.
And they sat there and watched this stuff sell, and they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
you
They
know?
were going to throw it.
Well, they did throw it out.
Garbage.
I saved it from the garbage bin that day. They threw it out. And
To them, it was just pictures of their family member and work stuff. They really didn't put
Yeah.
any value into it.
Oh, it was so cool though. It was great shit. It was all weather satellites. As a matter of fact, I believe the parent, I don't remember. It must have been their father and mother. I think it was their father and mother. He was one of the inventors of weather satellites, and so there was all this historical photographs of satellites, like weather satellites, and them building it inside the place and everything else. You know, it's funny. It's because a lot of people dismiss these types of things sometimes. You know, they think like, who wants that? You know, da da da. But
Sure.
It some of that kind of stuff people really want. That was unique enough. That was really cool. You know, I thought it was cool. Anyway,
You know what I heard the other day?
what's that?
It's really true. Kind of blew my mind a little.
Who's gay?
You are.
There you go.
That our generation is the last one to remember the night sky completely unmarked by these satellites that you see. Like, have you ever sat out, like, if you go outside and you see them moving sometimes?
I just think I'm too stoned when I see that. Because I'll stare at the sky and I'll like stare long enough.
I'm not glad I'm not the only one because I'll be looking at it too. And
Because
I'm
I'm
like,
not
whoa.
because I like look up and then I'm just like, is that fucking star moving? And I was like, the fuck? And then like I don't know, you start like doing that weird eye stuff.
Yeah, like
To try and like
blinking.
gauge if it's actually moved. Anyway, but yeah.
Every night we sit in the hot tub
Yeah,
and we
every
look
night
up.
we're in the hot tub, we look up, and sometimes you can see 5, 6 moving at one time.
Yes, I was gonna say we see at least 20 a night.
We have
Right
seen
up there.
some shit
We've
sitting out in that hot tub.
We've
I bet
seen-
you
And
have.
I have receipts.
Yeah, we even saw one recently that about a year ago. One would come and it was right after each
Yeah,
other, right after
one
each other.
after
Right,
the
they're all
other.
like following each other. I'm like, what the fuck's gonna happen?
They were
today?
moving
You know?
quick. They were just little balls of light, and then they would disappear.
Right.
And
But
I'm-
yeah,
no, I'm not kidding you. We were like, what is happening?
yeah, no. But like 2 months ago, we're sitting out there, and she's like,
I'm looking at him, and I'm
she's
like,
looking at this, she's going, what the hell is
what
that?
the hell is that?
I go, I don't know. And I
It
turn
was
around,
a
like,
ring
holy
of
shit,
light.
what the fuck is that? You know?
It was like this weird fuzzy ring of light that was moving, and then all of a sudden the ring got bigger, and then it and disappeared.
Yeah, the ring was like.
I
and it
have
was-
Jersey
receipt-
drone
I said, I think we
sightings.
really witnessed a fucking UFO tonight.
I have
That was a UFO, you know. But then we found out it was a SpaceX,
SpaceX
that
was
went up
going
that
out.
night.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was like that misty.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
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 And I was like, he's sitting there talking, and I'm like looking over his shoulder, like, and he's like, what is happening behind me? I'm like, I don't know.
Right,
We see
right.
some weird shit out there.
Yeah, no.
Have you guys ever sold a meteor? I feel like that's something that would pop up eventually.
I don't know. Jen, do you remember selling a meter? That would be something you
I
would have
don't-
took in the jewelry room and hoarded.
You
Yeah, I
would
would've
have.
hoarded it.
Johnny used to
Absolutely.
steal the best stuff at
She
the
would.
auction.
She would go around shopping. Oh, I like this. And then I would go into the jewelry room and be
And
like,
it's all displayed.
what the fuck is all this
Yeah.
shit in the jewelry room? Oh, I don't know. You can
It
take
just
it back.
looks nice.
There'd be like something where I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I want to put that in the mainsail and bid on it, you know? And I would turn my back, and like 20 minutes later, I'm like, fuck. Jewelry room.
Jewelry
Go
room.
find Janet. I'm like,
Jewelry room.
Well, speaking of fabulous jewelry, Janet shared and is currently wearing a phenomenal piece of heirloom jewelry.
That is nice.
It is
Yeah.
a freaking Art Nouveau Edwardian dream, circa 1902. A beautiful 14 karat.
Would you pull this out of my box lot today?
10 to go.
actually, you've done that, though. Not like
Oh,
gold.
Where did this come from?
My grandmother's.
Oh, that's really fucking nice.
She's done that,
man.
though. She's like, oh, this necklace is cute. And she'll try it out. And she calls me the
shit.
next day. She's like,
Sorry.
I took it home with me.
Did you
Took
see
it home.
this?
I'll bring it back.
No.
Oh, fuck, you're
my-
consigning
that's
that.
happened.
My
It's your grandmother.
grandfather
I can't do that.
called
I wouldn't
me
sell it, but-
years ago. He was
Right.
in Florida. He said, I found a bracelet that was your grandmother's. It was after she
Isn't that
passed.
delicious?
He brought it to a jewelry store and they were going to give him $50 for it.
Wow.
And I said to him, nah, you know what? I like jewelry. Send it to me. And that's what showed up.
So I know if you're not watching on YouTube, but you're listening, it's basically a bangle bracelet with this dragon head.
Can I describe it?
With
The jewelry?
yeah, you
Yes,
can go ahead.
yes.
Never
Sorry,
mind.
I'm itching
sorry,
too. I'm
fuck-
itching
Danny.
too.
Whatever, man. Fine.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm just hiring. This is what you hire me for, sir.
Go ahead.
He's
Let
good
me
at it.
cook.
Go ahead.
No, anyway, it's 14 karat, beautiful. I don't know if we could do a close up on that at some point. Maybe we could work that in there. But 14 karat bangle. It was part of what it sounds like is a demi parure. So originally with 2 bracelets and a necklace, possibly earrings. but it's super cool. It has this amazing little repousse, fantasy kind of lion design with a beautiful, prong set pigeon's blood ruby and 2 natural diamonds for the eyes. And then we have some lovely Art Nouveau flourishes here with some great whiplashes on
There
the
we go.
sides, on the shoulders. Anyway, delicious. Yes, it does fit me. It's divine. And yes, I did get to try it on. But
It's like the road show here.
yeah, we will have to do a close up of this to work.
Oh, it's
in.
really
This
nice.
is,
I think that
this is a really beautiful.
I think that
piece.
thing would bring at least 1,500 to 2,500. Is this signed by anybody?
Easy. It is.
Is it gold?
just has
It's
a
gold,
patent
right?
It's
date.
14 karat.
14 karat.
K,
Oh, that's
it does
probably
have
more
a
like
patent date.
it's probably more like 3,000 to 5,000. That thing's really nice,
It's
man.
really
but the
nice.
teeth on it
I
has these
know.
really sharp
She
teeth.
had the necklace to go with it
Right.
and another bracelet and lost them.
Oh.
I think we should melt it. Just joking. I was just tying back to the beginning.
Don't even fucking play with me, bro.
No,
That
don't
shit make me
melt that.
tight.
That thing's fucking beautiful, man. Yeah, no, that's really, really nice.
It
I
is
saw
nice.
steam coming out of Danny's ears. For a second there.
I wouldn't melt that. No, it's a shame how much stuff gets melted
So many
these
beautiful
days.
things get melted.
My God.
And I will say a great tip: stop by your local guy who buys gold or melts gold, because they usually have a surprisingly great selection of
I can
vintage pieces.
Oh, they
and
do.
you can get them at a fair cost.
I was going to
So-
say that doesn't surprise me
Not
because they must
a
see
fair price? No. Not if you go to Cape May. I'm just saying, if you go to a local jeweler in Cape
You-
May,
you gotta make
those
the-
type of pieces, they'd be asking
5,000 easy.
I'm going to say 36,000.
down there.
Down there, they
yeah.
would be asking
They'd be
36,000
asking
for it.
probably.
If it was labeled like if it was labeled like Lalique or something, then yeah. But like,
No, I'm just telling you, the prices down in Cape May, that's what they'd be asking for. That.
maybe I need to go start selling. I can't.
You go to the Queen Mary, that's what they'd be, or the other
Queen
guy.
Mary,
The
yeah.
other guy sells stuff like that all the time. And as a matter of fact, we were in there this past year, and there was something that really caught my eye. And I was like, "Ooh, this is really nice." And I asked him how much it was, and he was like,
Your soul.
36. I'm like, 36?
And we're like
$36.
I thought he went like 3,600. I'm like,
100
$600?
or 1,000.
And he's like, oh, 36,000. I went, oh. And it
Okay.
was Tiffany. And I said, oh.
Got it.
I said, I obviously, I spot out the
You
quality.
could strike deals though down there
You
with
can.
certain ones,
I was
certain
gonna say.
antique stores.
I'd say this ring I bought down in Cape May, and
Yeah.
they wanted $3,000 for it, and I ended up getting it for like 1,300 or
Yeah.
something like that. I got it.
Yeah,
down.
I got that one in a estate jeweler
and
in
that one
Cape
came
May
from
and
Cape May too.
haggled her down a bit. Not a good haggler.
I will say though that is one of my favorite aspects of the antiquities world, secondhand world, auction,
Yeah.
resale world. Are the people, the interactions. You get to meet fascinating people.
Oh,
and it's so much fun, like gauging someone.
Yes.
You'd be like, oh, this person's super chill, and then like you end up developing like a really solid relationship. They'll source for you.
yeah.
They'll pull for you. They'll keep things to the side.
Yeah.
So I think it's always worth to
Some of
invest
them-
in those relationships. as
Yeah.
well.
Some
Yeah.
of them are really fun and some of them are really weird.
So weird.
So weird.
People in the antique business. or Cape
Yeah.
May? Well,
Both.
yeah.
But in the
Oh,
antique business in general.
Yeah, I won't mention. I was about to mention some
wanna
names,
call
and
out
then
people?
I caught myself and said,
We're not
"May-
calling people
Yeah,
out.
maybe I shouldn't call anybody out.
No.
But
But as Mike
I mean,
Zapsik
hey,
said,
if you want to, we're at 40 minutes and 41 minutes exactly. So I could just beep it. I'll just add some
Beep,
sensor
beep, beep,
beeps.
I almost said somebody's name.
as
there.
Mr. Zapsik said the other day, it smelled like someone killed a hippie in here.
Yes, that was someone who stopped by.
He did. He walked.
It
he
was a
working
Nog
in the
Champa
little side
Patchouli
room.
nightmare.
He was working in a little side room, and he comes out and he goes, "Why does it smell like someone murdered a hippie in here?"
That's funny.
I said, "Because they did."
Just go to Brimfield and look around.
That's it. That's it. There's a lot of characters.
There
in
is a lot of
Brimfield.
characters in this
I've
business.
never been to Brimfield. I'm
You have
dying
to freaking go. It's coming up in May.
I
no
can't
excuses.
go because I don't trust myself. I have a very, very low level of self-control.
Yeah, but you have to go so you can at least experience it once.
I never went there.
You never went.
You
either.
never went either.
Road trip.
Road
You
trip.
never
That's
went
it.
either.
We are. We are.
Where?
Brimfield,
Brimfield.
Massachusetts.
It's the biggest antique
It's a big
market
outdoor market
that happens 3 times a year.
Yep, 3 times a year.
And it's miles and miles and miles. And
Some people
miles.
say
You're a
you'll
lot of
never ever
walking.
see the full
It is a
thing.
lot of walking.
It's a lot of walk. Well, yes and no, because they do have parking behind each of the like markets that they'll open because they have a bunch. So it's not that bad.
And a different market opens up every day.
Every day.
So,
So they're not.
How
all
long do
open
you
at
go
once.
for?
it's a week.
Whoa.
A week.
Well, but no, we went for a weekend.
Well,
Oh,
we just
okay.
went for a couple
We
days.
just went for a
Oh my
couple
God, imagine
days.
going a full week.
No.
Oh.
Good lord.
No.
I
No,
bumped into, you know how many people
too
we
much.
bumped into that we
I just
saw?
want the working
Fun.
capital. to
You know
be
who
able
was
to do
up
that.
there? Danny and what's their names from New York? They're really nice people. Used to buy toys from us all the time.
Raina.
Raina.
Oh, yep.
Raina.
They
Yeah.
sell there.
Okay.
Yeah, they would sell there.
They sell and buy there.
Yeah, they have a store out in Brooklyn or Long Island or something. Their toy store. Anyway, I can't think of, but they were great people. They used to come to the auction and buy toys all day long. The young kid and his
Oh,
a young
I
kid. He
know.
was my age, but you know who I'm talking
I know
about?
who you're talking
Their
about.
kids are the same age as my kids.
She always wore
remember
those
that.
funky cat glasses.
Yeah, she
She's
had
a
the
Yeah,
ton
she
of
always had
fun.
those funky
Yeah.
Oh,
cat
she's a
glasses.
ton of fun.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
characters.
They
and
were
they were
so
great people.
nice.
They were nice people.
They were so nice.
Yeah, no, they were very nice people.
Dan and Raina.
Dan and Raina, exactly.
We need to do this. We need to do a work trip.
Well,
It's coming up in May.
Please. Tweety please.
Work trip.
I'll have to think about that.
Work trip.
Well,
Work trip.
If
Rent
we
a van.
what's that?
Rent a big van.
Oh,
Work trip.
This is sounding like an episode of Jersey
I'll
Vacation.
bring the camera.
No, if we go,
Can
Work
you?
trip. Yeah, Christian can
Imagine.
film it.
We would need to bring like a trailer for all our purchases.
We
though.
would.
So we'd have to
True.
take the dually with a trailer on the
yeah,
back.
and don't be trailing after me because I'm gonna be eyeing up some pieces too.
I'm telling you, work trip. It's so worth going.
If we do go for a work trip, I promise I will DoorDash holy cannoli for all of us. It is delicious. Holy cannoli in Worcester. I see ya. I miss ya. Save me a dynamite stick.
I had fried alligator up there.
Yeah.
When I went
Fried gator.
fried gator. Yes, it was like chicken,
And chewier.
chewier, but like chicken.
Chewier.
Exactly.
We had gator quesadillas and we made gator burgers and gator bites where I used to work in Florida.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, well, it was called Gators.
Well, there you go.
Well, I certainly hope you had gator and gators.
Yep.
What do you have? Well, we can even stay local and go to a local place. Like I haven't been to the Meadowlands. I know you shopped at the Meadowlands all the time, right?
Yeah.
No.
All your
All right,
customers.
this just
are
got
there.
really
All
boring.
my
I was gonna say,
customers are there.
why are you trying to squash our
Customers.
dream?
Oh, I'm not trying to squash your dreams. I'm just saying the Meadowland outing would be
Well,
quite interesting.
It'll be a girls' trip.
It'll be a
It'll
girl's
be a
trip.
girls' trip.
Oh, don't say that to this guy. This
No,
guy,
I'm coming
I
then.
was
What are you
just saying,
talking about?
He wouldn't even let me go to a baby shower.
My daughter's baby shower.
Oh my
Facts.
God!
he had to go.
No,
Joe came.
He got mad. He was
It
like,
was
"How come I
awesome.
wasn't invited?"
I just said I did not. I just said, "Am I coming too?" Right? And I said, "How did that?" I didn't. I'm not. No, I like that. I had fun at that.
You were
baby
the
He
only
shower.
was
guy
the only
there.
man.
He was
Yeah,
the
Kevin
only
wasn't
man.
even there.
Yeah.
He was the
Yes,
only
the father
man.
was-
The father
even
wasn't
there.
there, but Joe was there.
But I
Joe
didn't.
is the father to all.
Wait a second. Wait. Time out. Let's back this up. We were coming from Cape May. We were coming from vacation. So we didn't have time to drop me at home so you can go. So
Well, that is kind of true.
I came along on the ride.
Well, you could have dropped her off and like went and ate a cheeseburger or something, and then came
Why?
back.
I wanted to engage
How
in
long
the
does it take to
woman's.
make a cheeseburger?
The woman's rite of
Bonding.
passage.
Down.
over
Yeah, it was like a
baby.
woman's bonding. I actually enjoyed it. It was kind of fun.
I got my favorite chair
Did you
from
get-
that experience.
Mm.
My little
did.
poof chair.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
the
it.
little poof chair. Yes.
They're selling
That
them
my
in
cats
Costco.
now own.
Nice.
They're selling them in Costco right now.
Are they really?
Are
Well, my
they?
cats totally destroyed it, ruined it.
Did you feel embraced by the divine feminine?
Yes, I enjoyed it. I didn't have any issue with
Everybody
it.
loved
he's
having
very-
him
I
there.
I played
He's
all the
more-
games and
Yes.
everything with them. I had a great time.
He's more in tune with his emotions
Oh,
than
okay.
most.
I am. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
I
it.
am.
What didn't I have a cigar outside? Ruth
Yeah,
Ann
we
was
were.
there too,
We
right?
were all hanging outside.
We're all outside. I smoked a cigar, came in, we played these games, and it was really cool.
Where?
It was.
Yeah, I had a great
So
time.
yeah, no, don't say girls trip in front of him. He's like, but I'm coming.
Yes, I would love the car.
God, the one thing I
squash our
remember, I had to
dreams.
carry that damn chair out of the van, and I had to park like 6 blocks down the road. Here we are, like me, Ruth, a couple other girls, like carrying this big old
Ass-
chair.
we couldn't even bring it inside. We had to leave it out on the
Uh-huh.
porch. And then when they were like, okay, it was like, wait, there's one more gift. Brittany, you have to go look outside because we couldn't bring it in. It was too big.
I know.
That's
It was
amazing.
mad.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
God, that seems like
Forever ago.
Yeah,
It
that
was forever.
Absolutely.
How old
He'll
is he
be
now?
2.5 on April 21st.
Two and a half. It's only 2.5 years ago. 3 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
That's crazy. Time does
I
fly.
can't
It
believe.
sure
It
does.
really does.
It really does. My
What is today but
goodness.
yesterday's tomorrow?
Exactly. And on that note, we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, check out our next auction next Thursday, May 8th. Antiques, collectibles, decorative arts, furniture, glassware, dishes, figurines, jewelry. We got it all. Make sure you check it out, www.bodnarsauction.com. Once again, Thursday, May 8th. Pre-bidding's going on right now. Watch the live broadcast May 8th on Thursday, 11 o'clock. Now, back to the show. Hey, welcome back to the show. Joe Bodnar again. At any rate, you know what I wanted to talk about?
What?
I wanted to talk about, because this came up with the coin collection. We had a Magic the Gathering collection.
I almost
many
wore my
years ago.
magic shirt today.
Oh, see, and I was talking to the guys on how we shipped it back and forth. So that's why I bring this up. But we had a Magic the Gathering collection. I'll tell the whole story. So during the pandemic, this guy brings down a Magic the Gathering collection that his friend willed to him or left to him. He passed away and he gave it to his friend.
Righteous.
Yeah, righteous. So we get this up. I know nothing about it. You know, I really don't know anything about Magic the Gathering. Now I do. But he brings it down. We look at it. You looked at it, and we started looking some stuff up, and we're like, what the hell?
Whoa.
You know, we're looking up stuff, and it's like, I don't know, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand.
And Black Lotus cards?
Yep.
Exactly.
Three of them.
Three of them.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we bring in this expert. He looks at it. He didn't really. He told us which ones were better. He never gave us prices on it. He was pretty hush hush about it, but he told us which ones were better. So anyway, we decide. Well, we should have them graded.
Yeah.
You know, they should go out to Beckett and be graded.
That was an experience.
And the dilemma.
Oh,
the
God.
dilemma.
That's-
God, that's why I'm bringing this up. That's exactly why I'm bringing
Sorry,
this up.
baby,
Hold
but
on.
oh my God.
We'll come back to that. Don't worry, I'm going to come back to that.
All right.
Wait.
At any rate, so we got to decide. So we go to Beckett, right?
I can't think about anything else.
Well,
now.
first,
So-
it's impossible to get in touch with them during the pandemic.
Well, that was true. It
Yes.
was difficult to get in touch during the pandemic. So to put it in perspective, we're talking about shipping cards to be graded that were worth potentially $400,000. I would say was what we were looking at. So we had to insure the collection for like $500,000. All right.
Nobody will ship that.
Nobody will ship. So we look at FedEx.
Nope.
Oh my God! But not even that. It would have been like, I don't know, 10 grand, 15,000 for insurance to ship it out there. Then we look at another place. I think UPS wouldn't even take it. I think
No,
they're-
they wouldn't even touch it.
Post
I think
office
Post
wouldn't
office
take
wouldn't
it.
touch
I
it.
think
None of 'em would.
30,000 is UPS's max.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. It was crazy. So we're in a dilemma. So how are we going to get these things to fucking?
Find our
It had to go to
share.
Dallas, Texas, is where it had
Yeah.
to go, so to be graded. So we're like, what do we do? So we finally figured out. We got armored car.
An armored car
We got an
service.
armored car service, right? To take it. So we get the armored car service, and they come, they pick it up. They picked it up from us here. They came here, picked it up, and literally they had it in Dallas, Texas next day.
Yep.
They totally insure it. And it was only like $800 one way and $800 back, so it was like $1,600 in total to get it to and from. But I was telling the guy he wanted to ship me gold. That's what brought this up, and I was like, well, you could armor card it. It's actually cheaper to armor card, and they will go from your house to a location.
It's more if it's coming from a residence, but business to business is cheaper. But I found out residence because I actually shipped one of the cards to one of the buyers.
That's right.
With
Right.
armored car
Yeah, we
service
shipped
because
one
we
with an
couldn't
armored
ship
car.
it to him.
because his bill was like 120,000,
And he
Right.
was in Florida.
and
Yep.
and nobody would insure it to ship it. So I got the armored car service to do it.
Wow.
Can you imagine buying something on the internet that comes in an armored car?
Badass. Like, I'd be filming it the entire time. I'd be like,
However, when they came back to us,
Hey, my nuclear waste has arrived.
when it came back to us, you and the guys were out on a pickup, and
Yes.
I was working in the building with these two lovelies
Yeah,
on
this-
either side of you.
Yes.
And the door
I didn't even get
opens.
to see this. That's true. Go ahead.
And the door opens, and I wasn't expecting it. Like, I didn't know they were coming that day. And I see this guy in a uniform with this big bag.
God. We saw God in a uniform.
It was a religious experience.
These two.
I know he was gonna be fine.
They're
Yeah,
next.
fine is not even. He was
Way above
like
fine.
I'm not
Fine.
even
They're
joking.
next. I'm not paying attention to these two.
Oh.
This is what
I go over. I'm like, oh God, okay. So he opens it up, inspect it, make sure it's all there. Got a
Opens what up?
sign for it. So I'm not looking, and all this, like in the middle of it, I turn and I look at these two, and they are literally like,
I don't think my mouth closed one
I
time.
was gonna say,
I was just gawking.
they were
like,
not making it. They were not subtle.
No.
Neither
No.
of them were
Nope.
subtle.
Nope.
Nope.
You can't be.
You, at that point, if somebody's that fine, like you can't be. It's like
No.
You literally couldn't be.
They
I
were
was
not
just like,
subtle.
And it was like pandemic. I
at that
haven't seen a
point, it's
person
like,
in like
they're so
2
fine you get
years,
offended.
And I'm like,
Pandemic
oh my God.
and a man in a uniform.
and he had a gun on him too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they were armed, man. Armed
Their
guards, yeah.
reactions were the best thing I've ever seen. Like
That was the highlight of the pandemic.
They were
That
like,
was.
I was there in spirit,
I
ladies.
hear armored.
I was there in spirit, ladies.
Absolutely.
it was the greatest. It was.
I
so
missed
great.
all of it, you know.
missed it. We
but I
did
feel
tell
that
you when you got back.
Oh.
I feel that way every day when I see you.
Aw.
I do.
Like, hi, hot armor guy, where are you?
Yeah.
We should use that
If you're,
service
if
more
you're
often.
listening,
all you guys talked about was that. That's all I heard about when I
Like a
came
month,
back.
I think I talked about.
Yeah,
it.
we
Can I
talked
shit
about it a
myself
lot.
in the armored car? Feel so safe.
I was gonna say when I had to ship out the couple of cards that the guy bought, she was so excited, and they came, and he was not the same person.
No. That kind of fine only comes
It
once
was
in a lifetime.
for a fact.
So if you're a very good looking man who delivered some Magic the Gathering cards to Bodnar's auction,
Come back.
Yeah, really.
I know some people that would
Yes,
like to
dear
speak
sexy
to you.
can I please come back?
What a collection! So we sent it out, came back, we sold it,
All
and
graded.
I'll never forget this because this was the best sale we ever ran. Really, it was one of the highlights.
One of the highlights.
One of the
yeah,
highlights.
for
You know,
sure.
you got that. You have Kevin Smith, and you have a couple others in
Bill
there. but
Kazar's was
Bill
a
Kazar,
highlight. For
yeah,
me.
that was a highlight. But as far as money wise, this was probably the best sale.
Oh,
we ever
yeah.
had. So I'll never forget it. We have it up online, and we didn't know where it was going to go. So I remember
I knew where it was gonna go.
I remember I went to bed that night and we had left. It was like at about 90,000 for the sale on face value, and it kept going up and up. And then I woke up in the morning and it was like at 250,000 the next day.
Yeah.
And
pre-bidding is typically 1/3 of what the sale's going to bring.
exactly. So we started that sale and it was great. I mean, listen, the first card pops for 50 grand, the next one's 40 grand.
It was all the
30
Black
grand.
Lotus, Black Lotus, Black Lotus
80
Mox.
8,000,
Yeah.
6,000,
Mox Emerald.
9,000,
Mox
6,000.
Emerald.
I actually have a set upstairs. I bought one of the sets from that collection. It was the oddball set.
Yeah.
It was like they made like this set, but it
Spoof.
was spoof.
Yeah, it was spoof.
It was like weird shit.
Yeah, it was like the Garbage Pail Kids of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was. I bought that set. I think that set cost me $400. I always wanted to frame it. I got to get that framed. I was going to frame that up because really this was a turning point for us during the pandemic because we had that 1 foot out the door. Actually, I had probably 1 foot and 4 more toes out the door, and this pivoted us back to like
Yeah, it
fucking
did.
this
Brought
sale.
us right back to
This
where we
sale
used to
paid
be.
for fucking my $80,000 loss that year, and then helped me where I'm at to right
Wow.
this second. So
Let me do it.
yeah. So, but the sale ended up bringing like close to 600, I think, with the hammer, and then another 18%. It was like 750,000. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget because I'm looking at my bank account. I'm like, it was real close to $1 million in my bank account. I'm going, man, I made it. That's what I said. I really did.
And just like that.
And just like that, we're back down.
You pick up a deal in Brooklyn that turns out to be a bust.
Yeah, a little bit, but I understand.
the stories were worth it for both.
They were.
But that sale was tremendous, and that stuff brought a ton of.
I
money.
hadn't get there. It was snowing that day.
Oh, that did snow on
It
sale.
snowed.
day.
I remember it snowed, and there was no way in the world. So I made dumb George drive me to work and sit there for the sale went on from what time was it? 11 in the morning to 8:30 at night.
It was
Then
a
you
long
went up
one.
to the house to make ribs. You brought back. We're eating dino ribs
Oh,
on
we
the
did
back
have ribs.
table.
We made ribs
We
that
were
day.
starving.
I do remember that.
You had ribs. You got it at the Amish market or something. You're like, I got a whole thing of ribs. We got to eat something. We haven't eaten all day. We didn't take a break. We were just Magic the Gathering for freaking almost 12 hours straight. It was crazy.
Right.
It even ended, I think, a little later. Yeah, it was.
It was a
crazy.
long sale.
Holy crap.
It was
Yeah.
a crazy sale, but that sale, nothing went for nothing,
And everything was right where it needed to. It was perfect.
and everything got paid for except for maybe 2 cards.
Yeah.
and none of the big cards. It was
Word.
Yeah,
$500
BS.
card. Or,
Yeah.
and man, yeah, and that was wilted, that guy.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
After
Oh
the
my God.
sale, he found 6 more cards. Or
Yeah.
something.
Did.
He sent them because we
Yeah.
had another magic sale afterwards, because when you have one righteous sale, then they come in.
Right. Yeah.
So we had another pretty decent magic right after it, and he sent a couple more cards that we sold in the second round of stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
And that collection, the second one came from Wisconsin, I believe, or something,
Somewhere,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they
yeah.
shipped it to us. Remember, UPS
Yeah.
put it on a pallet or something and
Yeah,
brought
she
it
brought it.
DHL.
She packed it, brought it to UPS, and they did the pallet thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That one was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. No, but nothing beat that.
No,
man.
no.
That stuff was unreal.
And it's always wonderful when they don't come with strings attached.
Oh, there was no strings attached.
Well,
He had no.
We all learned together in
expectations.
that. I mean, even he didn't know how much they were worth like that. Neither
No.
did we. We
No.
didn't really know at that point. I mean, right at the
How
beginning,
much
we
did
didn't
he end
know.
up getting?
I'm
in the
telling
end?
you, it was 600 and change. It was 650,000.
right?
That's do things money.
600.
Yeah, absolutely. Major.
And made me had to pay taxes. I had to pay taxes.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. Unfortunately for Joe, his ex-wife
Oh,
decided
yeah,
to
man.
recalculate child support
yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah,
year.
yeah, we
She
had
was
to-
like, "Oh, yeah."
We had, you have no idea. So we had to, we go for a recalculation, right? I had to explain myself of why.
We went from losing 80,000.
Yeah,
to making
100-some thousand.
Yeah.
I had to explain why we made 300,000 in a day, because that was what really happened there. Because
Oh.
600,000, we made about 250, 300,000 in profit. Not profit, but in net in profit, basically.
Gross.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, net income.
Exactly. And I had to explain to the attorneys and everybody and the judge, well, listen, this was a once in a lifetime collection.
Deal, yeah.
If I see another one like that, I'll gladly pay my high child support at
No,
that
I'll pay
moment.
whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll
Just
pay
keep
you
it
whatever you
coming.
want.
I will pay
But this
whatever
is
you
not the
want.
reality of the business. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It really wasn't. As a matter of fact, everyone got bonuses that year. That was a good year. I gave everybody big bonuses. Well, I don't know about big, but
It was big.
I hope you were happy.
I was very
Try
happy.
to share the wealth.
I
Share
did.
the
I
wealth.
showed their wealth that year. Yeah, no, we had a good year that year, and it saved us from the pandemic.
It did.
It really did. I mean, that saved me from the pandemic. That if we didn't have that, it would have been a major
Didn't
problem.
Tommy crash his car that day?
Tommy wasn't working for us,
No,
but
I know, but he was
used to
driving
bring
Jeff in.
to work.
not that day because Jeff went to
Are you
came
sure?
to that sale. Why would Jeff come to that sale? We
I'm not
weren't under the
sure.
camera back then. But he crashed his car
I thought it was that same
right down our
day.
road here.
It was snowing that day.
I know. I don't
I
know
remember
why. I
that.
thought it was that same day because George brought me in.
No,
Yeah.
because Joe drove Tommy back that day, so there's no way Joe would have left.
I don't know what day it was.
Tommy, the crasher.
Mm-hmm.
He was crazy.
He crashed everything, but that's a whole story for another episode.
Isn't that a whole story for another episode? I don't disagree, but he was the crasher,
The crasher.
and he was a an Uber driver, and even got in a
A
crash.
Lyft driver.
A
and
Lyft
then he
driver,
crashed.
and he crashed.
Wow.
Well, he was driving. Anyway, you have stories you want us
Yes,
to
go
talk about on air. Email us at bodnarsbidsandbanterpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, that I would say that was the highlight of our. That could be the whole segment of what we just did.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a historical moment in Bodnar's auction,
Yeah.
and really nobody knew that it was going to bring that. Except
No.
for apparently Erica did.
Well, Erica.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome.
You could have clued us in. I'm just
I did.
saying.
I tried. I dropped the stuff off as fast as you gave it to me. I don't want to be in control.
I don't
want
want to be responsible for this.
Yep. I will come
wouldn't.
here in 100 masks.
That shit was crazy.
That shit was
What a crazy thing. All right. I think an hour's up.
I think so.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere we're
All the
podcast,
things, Instagram,
Instagram,
all the things.
all those great, wonderful
All the
things.
things.
www.bodnarsauction.com. Thank you for joining us, Janet.
Danny.
Erica.
Maureen.
And me, Joe Bodnar. See you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching Bodnar's Bid and Banter. Remember, we're here every other week with new episodes, new stories, and wonderful, wonderful times. Make sure you check us out, bodnarsauction.com, YouTube, Facebook, all the different platforms where you watch this podcast or listen to this podcast now. Now, once again, thanks and have a wonderful day.